Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have a video for you on the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. So let's jump right in. As always, I like to cut down my cardstock. I just like to know what I'm working with. So I do have an A2 base, and I'm taking about 1/4 inch off of this panel. And then I'm going to cut my black mat, which is just some kind of shimmery black cardstock I have in my stash. It's a pretty lightweight cardstock, so I like to use it for layering. And I cut about 1/8 of an inch off of it, just slightly smaller than my base. I'm going to show you here as I put them all together that there's just a very small mat going on there. I just think it helps the colors pop. So I kind of like to mat my panels with some black cardstock. And I have the stamp from Colorado Craft Company. It is the Get Together stamps. I own the dies. I'm not going to actually use them in this specific card, but I do own them, and I think I'm going to have to bring them out because this is just such an adorable stamp set. So I am stamping them in some Gina K Amalgam Ink just because I want to do some Copic coloring on them. So I stamped them out twice just to get a really good impression, and then I am going to also stamp it onto some masking paper that we're going to fussy cut out. Like I said, I do have the dies, but of course the dies don't help you when you want to mask something. And I just want to mask the top to like the rabbit, and I think it's a hedgehog, the rabbit and the hedgehog, just so I can blend on the background. I also took a piece of masking paper and kind of have to cover the edge. You'll see here when we get there. And I skipped a couple of things like the whiskers on the rabbit that are sitting up into the sky. I didn't try to fussy cut those. There's no way. I'm going to bring in a black marker later and just draw them back in. And that little leaf on the side of the rabbit there, I do actually fussy cut out the leaves. I'm not going to show it to you because it was tedious and my head was in the way for most of it. But I think it turned out really cute. And to kind of have that detail still in there with this super vibrant background that we're going to Oxide blend on. So I'm using some CutterBee scissors. I find these are great fussy cutting scissors. And I move the paper with my left hand as I'm right-handed, and then just cut with my right hand. And you do have to cut right on the line, or you won't be masking the image. If you cut around it, then you're going to end up with kind of like a halo effect around your image, which is not what you want. And it does take me a second to get it lined up properly, but I get there and then it's good. And then we're going to go into blending. So this is my version of a winter sky. I know it's not that realistic, but it's my card, and I love purple skies, so I have a tendency towards them. So I'm going to have some Wilted Violet on the bottom, then I go into Shaded Lilac, and then we're going to do some Mermaid Lagoon. And I do blend back and forth. And now, honestly, if you struggle with blending, I do find the domed foams work really well. Ranger came out with some. I'm loving theirs. I find that they really help you if you struggle with Oxide, any blending, ink blending in general, just because they don't give you harsh lines. The flat foams, though they can blend beautifully as well, they tend to, if you touch the cardstock not off of the cardstock and move on, they tend to leave like a harsh ring. Domed foams don't do that. So if you are struggling, and you want to ink blend, give these domed foams a try, and I think you'll see a difference. I've noticed a difference, and I tend to use them every time I Oxide or ink blend, just because I find that they're a lot easier and there's a lot less hassle with them. So then, of course, we're going to do the great big reveal here where I'm going to lift off the mask so you can see the ink blending. And I think it turned out really pretty. I'd love to know what you guys think. I love Oxides. I think that they make the most stunning backgrounds, especially skies. And we are going to do a few things to the sky. So bear with me as we go here. So we're going to jump into some Copic coloring. This is sped up quite a bit, guys. Bear with me. If you ever have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to catch the comments and respond. If not, you can always send me a message. Ciara T Designs is my handle, so you can always come over and ask me questions if you ever have any, or leave them in the comments. I do try to read all of the comments. So for the snow there, I'm going to use B00 and BV00. Very, very light colors, and it's honestly just to add a little bit of shading underneath the animals. Because we're going to cover some of it up anyway as we go here. So I then brought in C1, C3, and C5 on the rabbit, and I'm going to use it onto the one mouse down to the left-hand side. They're neutrals. This isn't neutral gray, this is cool gray, but I'm trying to have the biggest pop of color be the sky. And although the sky is the background, the animals are still in the foreground. It's just that I wanted the biggest, brightest pop of color to be the sky rather than the animals themselves, because they're like looking up at least I assume they're looking up at the snow, and they're very excited about it based on how I assume this is drawn. So this is kind of what I was going for. So I make the sky be more of the emphasis than the front images. So I ended up doing neutrals. I do grays for all the animals. I'm going to bring 2 sets of grays, and they're going to look really similar. They don't look similar in person, but on the camera, they do look fairly similar. This is N1, N3, and N5, so the exact same 3 colors, or sorry, 3 numbers, just in neutral grays instead of cool grays. You could bring in warm grays to add some more contrast, but I didn't want that. So they are going to look different in person. They look a lot more different than they do on the camera. But I wanted some variation in their tone, but I still wanted them to be a very neutral color. So that's kind of what I was thinking. You could color them all the same gray if you wanted to. It really doesn't matter for what we're going to end up doing here, but that's just kind of how I go. And I always go lightest, mid-tone, dark tone, and then back through again. That's just how I color. That's my preference. There's no wrong way to color. Color how you like. Whatever floats your boat is the right way to go. They're going to turn out stunning regardless. So whatever works for you. And then I did bring in, that was RV13 for cheeks. And then I go over the cheeks a little bit in the C1 and N1 just to tone them down just a little bit. And I did also put it on the nose of the little rabbit as well. And then for the little greenery that's kind of sitting there, I chose G00 and G12 for the little leaves, just to have a little bit of green in there. Again, you could leave them or you could change the color. They could be gray. You could have done this kind of like a monochromatic base and then had the sky be a vibrant color. That would look really neat, actually. I'm going to have to try that on a different card, but that I think would be a lot of fun. And then I did bring in some darker shades. Again, though, there's still one's purple and one's blue, so we're kind of still sticking to that same color palette, but they're quite a bit darker. So I have B97 and B00 and that's what I'm going to use for the scarves and that one little mouse's hat. Still in the same color family, but I just wanted a little bit more variation. I did consider bringing in like a white gel pen and adding some designs onto the scarves, but in the end I didn't, simply because we're going to put splatter and stuff over top of it, so it doesn't really matter in this, but that's something I considered. So for this, we're going to splatter on, this is some Perfect Pearls. I just have it mixed up in a little mini mister bottle. I add this to everything pretty much. This is like my version of snow. I love the shimmer that it gives you in the background. It's subtle, yet it's still in the light, looks stunning. So I just flicked that all over the place. And then I did also bring in some Picket Fence white, because that's Distresses white paint. And I'm going to flick that on as well, and this is my version of snow. Do be aware that if you use a distress paint, when it dries, it's permanent. So as soon as I was done flicking this on, I did go and wash everything off so that I didn't have it get stuck on anything. And I also brought in a black pen just to finish the image here, and then to bring those whiskers back in that I had not fussy cut around because you couldn't see them anymore. And I believe I also go over the eyes, but I kind of pull this in to just make sure that my hill kind of still connects with the black line. And then I did add a few little squiggles into where I've kind of extended the image as well, just to kind of try to incorporate it in a little bit more. Any black pen would work. We're not adding any more water on top of this at this point, so I mean, this is a waterproof pen, mine, but any black marker should work as long as it's kind of a finer tip. And then I'm going to bring in some Glossy Accents, and this is a little bit extra. You could absolutely stop at this point, like where we've just finished, and be good. I mean, you can see the snow in the sky. I think that this card looks stunning, but I have a tendency towards the more is more sentiment, so I'm going to add some Mica flakes into the background as my snow. I just think that it adds to it, but it is extra and not totally necessary unless you really want to be as glittery as I love to be. So I think that it turned out pretty stunning, but I just added Glossy Accents kind of all over the place, as I think that snow would be falling everywhere, and then I just have a little coffee filter to catch all the pieces. and I just kind of sprinkle it on all over the place. And I think that it really adds a textural element. You have to keep in mind that this is a flat, this is a 1 layer card. So there's no real dimension to it. So this is just my way of adding some dimension to my card there. And then of course my kitten had to come check it out. And then we're going to adhere everything down. I've been using the Barely Art glue. I love it. I love the fine tip. I think it's a wonderful way to adhere things. It's probably one of my most favorite glues. This and the Nuvo Deluxe glue have to be my favoriteest liquid glues, but any glue you have would work. You could use a tape runner or whatever you have with you. I think it would be easy. I just prefer liquid glue, so I have a little bit of wiggle time on getting everything straight, especially with layers this small. I tend to eyeball everything, so I try to have a little bit of time to move things around on the background. And then I'm going to use that same Barely Art glue just to adhere my panel down to my base. And then that's kind of what I thought. I don't know, you guys will have to let me know what you think of this card. Did you like it? What do you think? Would you change anything? Would you have added the mica flakes there? Because again, it's totally extra. I just like how it looks, so I add glitter to everything. But totally extra and not necessary at all. I just have a tendency towards very glittery things. So I'm going to hold it up here in a second in the light so you guys can check out all of the glitter in the background of this card. I think it turned out so pretty, and I love the sky. I love how it turned out, and I love these images. They're just so whimsical. So there it is in all of its shiny glory. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel. ScrapbookPal has a lot of amazing designers on their team, and they have great inspiration, so I hope you'll check it out. Leave us a like, leave us a comment, and I will see you guys again soon with my next video. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye for now.